All right, we're just going to give it a few seconds now. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for ICONversations. Today, we have some amazing icons on the stage here to share their wealth of knowledge with all of you out there on YouTube. If you are watching this, smash that like button. We are also live in EXP World, so if you know somebody who's an agent at EXP, ask them for a guest pass so you can get in here and see it live. Today, we have 5 amazing icons. From Florida, we have Caroline Van Sevenent. From Arizona, we have Andrea Crouch. From Saskatchewan, we have Scott Ziegler. From Texas, we have Seth Prescott. And the amazing Dave Kadoon from Alberta is our moderator today. Dave, take it away.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome. I love being up here on the stage and meeting with agents, especially when you know them. Caroline, we did one here, I think, a couple of months ago, and Scott, he's just down the road from me. So, Scott, it's good to see you and your nice little avatar there. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to share how we've grown to the business level that we are all at, and you're going to see us from different markets, okay? So you've got 2 of us from Canada and 3 from the US. You're going to see the differences in the responses and how we've grown and how we're handling this current market. But we're going to get started off just with a quick introduction. Seth, let's start with you. A little bit about you, how long you've been in real estate, and where you operate.
Sure. So I'm a commercial real estate broker, EXP Commercial. I've been doing that for 24 years, mostly here in San Antonio, Texas, but I do deals all over the place and work with brokers all over. So got 6 kids, currently running for city council in my little town to try to stop the people that are keeping anything from happening. So got a lot of stuff going on.
Excellent. Great to meet you. Andrea, how about yourself? Whereabouts in Arizona are you? And how long have you been in the business?
Thank you, Dave. Good to meet you as well. I am in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a little balmy 92 degrees today. So we have arrived at our summer season, I guess. I'm a newbie from Seth, just kidding. 18 years in real estate and on the residential side. And I serve with my husband as well. So glad to be here.
And great to have you here. Caroline, how's things down in Florida, and how long have you been in the business?
Hi, Dave. Nice to meet you. I've been an agent here for about 4 years and a half. My husband just joined me last year. Super excited to be here. We have a 2-year-old, and yeah, she's basically a realtor too. She goes everywhere with us. And we do residential real estate here in Central Florida.
Oh, excellent. And Scott, we're going to get this pronunciation done properly because I know Brian will give him benefit of the doubt from being the US, but Scott is from Saskatchewan. That's how we pronounce it up here, Saskatchewan. And Scott's just a couple hours down the road from me. Scott, how long have you been in the business, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
18-ish years, and residential real estate the whole time. I don't really do farm or commercial, and that's about it.
Man, you've never been so short on words there. That's awesome. Okay, we're going to get you talking here right off the start. So Scott, we're going to start with you with this first question. So with the way the real estate market is ever changing, and especially we've seen it in the last year, definitely south of the border. When I say south of the border, because I'm in Canada, so in the US market. Canada, it's been a little bit different, but because we're all from different markets, Scott, how have you navigated the changes in the market just in the past 12 months?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, the market's always changing, right? And so I think, from a newer agent perspective, it ebbs, it flows. I think there's certain things we can do as agents that if we let the market dictate our future, then we're always going to be, at the mercy of the market. But if we do the things day in and day out that real estate agents are supposed to do. Yeah, there's always going to be, an up month, a down month, a challenging quarter. But I think it's the activities that we do as agents on a day in and day out and a week in and a month in basis that will really dictate the market more so than the market dictating us, if that makes sense.
Actually, yeah, it really does. And that's a great way to put it. As much as business does come to us, we also can create business, self-generating. And I've definitely found that this year has actually been my busiest year in any years, with 30 closings already since February 1st. Things have been moving very, very quickly. Andrea, how about down in Phoenix? How have you been navigating things over the last 12 months?
Well, it is a really good question. I think I don't really understand the focus on the market changing, because that is literally our job, to navigate the market changing. So if our focus, for me, my focus is on my clients. So if they are moving, I have to navigate whatever the market conditions are. So, the reasons for a move, death, divorce, growing families, shrinking family, like whatever those things are, people move because they have to move, and we have to respond accordingly. So it's like setting us apart as the professional, saying, this is what's going on in the market, we're going to price it aggressively, or this is what's going on in the market, we're going to price it, however the market conditions are. So I just think it's really important to keep in mind that's our job. If the market stays the same, then they don't need us. So it's a good thing. It's job security that the market is changing all the time. And it keeps us on our toes, and it's fun, right? Like getting to navigate that and getting to be the professional is awesome.
Very, very well put. You're right. If things stayed steady all the time, we would not be needed. And that's where agents who are surviving in the way the market has been going is because they're definitely willing to adapt. Seth, I'm really curious to hear from you, because being a commercial agent, you see things in a different light. I'm licensed in commercial as well, so I do dabble in both residential and commercial. But how have you seen, or have there been any really differences in the past 12 months in commercial?
Absolutely. With the interest rates, the purchase side of the equation is very different. It's much harder to get deals done. I have, being in San Antonio, it's a fairly small market. And so I've had to, through my career, be somewhat of a generalist. And I do a lot of leasing. And so leasing, it doesn't matter what's going on to a certain degree with the economy. It's either going to be a landlord market or a tenant market, and you're just going to have to adjust to each one and how you negotiate. But leases are always coming up. So if you can learn how to do leasing on the commercial side, then I wouldn't say it's recession proof, because companies go out of business and there's less of them to work with. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be activity. And I wrote a couple things down as I was listening to other people. One of the books that one of my mentors told me about many, many years ago, I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? And really it's about how life is always changing, no matter, what industry you're in or where you are in life. And then a couple other things I wrote down are just, having a proper mental, attitude, because life is always full of ups and downs. And if you can keep a positive attitude, that's going to keep you moving in the right direction. And then I think I heard some other people mention your actions and your behaviors. So just being consistent, staying positive and, doing the right things, I think will help people get through, the tough times.
I liked some of the points you put in there, and we're going to highlight those here in a question maybe in about 10 or 15 minutes down the road. So keep on those because we're going to come back to them. Caroline, how about you? How's the market changed for you in Florida in the past 12 months, and how are you keeping up with it?
So the biggest challenge that we see is really the interest rates and listings not. Obviously, I got into real estate when COVID happened, and as we all know, listings were kind of selling as hot bread. So that's not happening no more with these high interest rates. So that's definitely a challenge, and I feel the best way to overcome that is really to be more than ever the knowledgeable agent. Like, you need to know what you're talking about. As Andrea said, it is our job to know the market and to know how to navigate it, but it's also our job to educate our clients, and we're doing this more than ever. One of the things that I do personally for me and my team is we reevaluate our entire systems, our entire way of generating or doing business every 12 weeks. And every 12 weeks, we look at what's going on in the market, and we kind of see how we can adjust and how we can adapt. And a great book to get guidance on that is the 12-week year. That's really like my holy grail to stay on top of all this.
I like how you put that. So having 12 weeks, it's basically every quarter, and that's how we all should be analyzing our business. Is every quarter, how are things going to be changing in the market as well as in our business? So let's actually quickly jump to that into the next segment. When you talk about business plans or business, I'm going to mention business plans. Now, they're very important. I didn't learn this early on in my real estate career, but I have definitely been implementing it in the past several years. So we're going to start with this. Do you have a business plan, and how often are you updating it? So Caroline, let's just go directly back with you when it comes to that, because I think that'll transition to what you just kind of finished off with.
Sure. So yes, we do have a business plan. I've been doing this from basically day one since I've been an agent. And in the beginning, I did a business plan for an entire year, which, it worked as a new agent. It was fine. But I feel at this level now that we are at, I do feel reevaluating it every 12 week and then take a small break because we need to take breaks too. As was said during this meeting today, like, our mental health is extremely important. You cannot just be go, 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 because at some point that's gonna hit a wall. So for me, that 12-week period always ends with like a couple days off. So you can rebalance yourself and you can take that little break that we all need and often don't take. I'm a workaholic, so I'm very guilty of that, of not wanting to take breaks, but I also have seen in the past how much that can hurt me. And so that business plan, that reevaluating, it also gives me energy, because I'm like, oh yeah, this didn't work the way I was expecting it to work. Let's do something different. And it allows me to look at my numbers and see if achieving what I wanted to achieve, or if I'm underachieving and if there's any room for improvement.
Okay, good. I like that. Quick question, Caroline. So you said your husband's in real estate. Are you a domestic team?
Yes, we are.
Okay, perfect. Andrea, you mentioned your husband, and you a domestic team as well?
Yes, we are.
Okay, my wife's in real estate. We're also a domestic team. So Andrea, we're going to transitioning to that with the business plans. How often are you updating it? And does that obviously include your husband, and you guys work on that together?
Yes. And I'm so glad Caroline mentioned that 12-week year, because we are also doing the 12-week year. It is just so incredibly powerful. And I think right now, given the current market conditions, at least in the US, being able to adapt quickly, it's not focusing on a quarter, it's focusing on your quarter is your year. So you get so much more done and have that focus. But anyway, yes, we do have a business plan. I have to have a business plan. I have to have that guide. And to me, it starts with your vision. Like, what is your vision for your business? Having a mission statement, core values, looking at your budget, having your marketing plan. I don't want to think every day, oh, what am I going to do today? If I have my marketing plan and it goes through we do have it go through the whole year, but like, what are we doing this month? What is our focus? What is our, what's our email going to be? What's our newsletter? So yes, the whole business plan is put together, and evaluating, looking back, where did the business come from? Where do I need to put my energy? Because that's the, the highest dollar per hour of our work is, where did the business come from? Where do I want to put my energy? So yes, we have a business plan. We do that together, and the team as well. We have a small team, and we all get together and go over all of those things.
I like how both of you mentioned with the 12-week, it's a year. I operate my business 3 months in advance. What am I going to be doing in 3 months? How am I going to get closings in 3 months? Where are we going in 3 months? So that's how I'm always focusing. And so it's basically a quarter ahead at all times. Seth, how about yourself in the commercial space?
So I am actually horrible with planning. Personality wise, life in general.
I love that. That's hilarious. Thank you.
I would say that I've never actually had a business plan, but I have worked with a lot of people that are very good. And so I think that I pick up on certain things that, they work for me. I'm super ADD. And so I just kind of hop from one thing to another. I always joke with people that I'm a real estate Chinese plate spinner. I keep all my deals just spinning, and I go from one to the other until I can, keep them all from crashing, and then take one down at a time, and got 4 more. So, being in the business for as many years as I have, my business is mostly referrals based at this point. And, I have clients that will do, larger transactions, and, I don't know. I always end up doing, 30 to 50 deals a year. And I would say I don't have time to make a plan or try to find new clients, because I never seem to run out of deals. So I certainly think I could do better in this, but I don't have a plan, unfortunately.
And that's okay, and that's honest, and I understand, because the deals keep coming in because you've set your precedent. People know who you are. People are coming to you. I get the same thing, and the odd time when business gets quiet, I don't get worried, because I know something is going to be coming down the line because of the sphere of influence that I have.
Sometimes
Scott,
I wish people would stop coming sometimes, but I'm
I'm
grateful. I'm grateful for all my clients, and
you bite your tongue, Seth, don't you say?
Exactly.
Oh, no, that's good. I love that. Scott, how about you? 18 years in the business. Do you run business plans, or you kind of just have everything going as it just falls into place?
Yeah, you know what, I've had a coach for a long time, and we do the planning at the beginning of the year and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of gotten to the point where the business plan doesn't change. I mean, what has changed in real estate, fundamentally and forever? And the answer is nothing. I mean, so my business plan gets somewhat tweaked every year, very, very minor. And what I usually do is I like to track transactions, not I want to sell 100 million in real estate, and I happen to sell two $50 million houses, and now I hit my goal. Like, I mean, to me, that doesn't make any sense. An agent that sells 50 deals is way better than an agent that sells 5. So so I track transactions, and then I sort of break it down by month. Hey, what am I capable of doing? And I know January and February aren't going to be as busy as May and June, and November and December and all that kind of stuff. And then this year, for example, what I did is I always look back, and I looked at, and I have it sitting right in front of me as we speak up on my whiteboard, my top 3 or 4 sort of lead sources, and my bottom 3 or 4. And then I just made some notes. How can I improve what I'm already good at, and where where is there some untapped potential on the low, on the parts where I haven't done as well. And so I'm kind of the same. I don't have like a real structured plan. Again, I work more off of I don't work off of a calendar either. I work more off of a list. Like, hey, these are some things that I know I need to get done this week, this month, whatever. and I check them off as I go versus saying, oh, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I prospect from 9 till 11 or whatever. And good luck with that when a deal comes up and a buyer comes in from out of town and a hot property hits the market and you got to run and somebody cancels an appointment on you and wants to reschedule. So I've never been able to work off a calendar. I don't feel like our business is really conducive to that. So I use lists and activities to sort of guide my plan.
Excellent, and I love, because you have so much years in the business. It's great, for all of you to get a different understanding how everyone is doing something just a little bit different. Now, in the room today, I'm going to go on the assumption that we have some new agents, and new agents need that guidance of what are they going to do, how are they going to grow their business, and by new agents, I'm talking like within 2 years. So let's dive back to when we all started in real estate. So yeah, Scott, let's start with you. So when you started in real estate, what were your goals, and have they changed at all over the years?
Yeah, they have. I mean, the first, and actually it's just morphed over the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. But before, somebody secretly would say, well, why are you in real estate? It's like, it's for the money. And that's changed a little bit. My goals used to be all about money. Now my goals are a bit more, like I said, transactional. I feel I have the potential to do X amount of deals a year or a month or whatever it is. And so I don't even anymore to a certain degree. I mean, if I got to sell 5 homes in a month and I sell 5 rinky-dinky condos, I'm happy. I hit my 5 goals, and if I sell $5 million homes, even better, obviously. But so I my goals now are kind of based around my potential. And from a new agent to say, well, listen, I'd like to do 2 deals a month. Nothing wrong with that. Do you have the capacity for it? Do you have the grind, or whatever you want to call it, the work ethic to do 2? And if the answer is yes, then that's a goal to shoot for. If the answer is, well, no, if I really work at this thing full time, I should be able to do 3.5 deals a month, or whatever your 12-month goal is. So like I said, I really break my goals down into transactions based on where I feel I have the capacity to do it. And then, I mean, this wasn't exactly your question, but, and I said it, in my last statement, is that there's really only, so like, you got your past clients, your sphere of influence, there's for sale by owners, there's expireds, there's, sign and internet leads, there's social media. Like, there's only about a dozen places, maybe even less if you combine a few, that you can get deals from. So I would have agents sit down and say, well, these are all the lead sources. How can I get 1 from each one of these this year? Well, there's a dozen deals. How can I get 2? Well, there's 25 deals. Can I get 5 from here and 2 from here? And so I don't really worry about doing 58 deals a year. I only worry about doing 5 for sale by owners and 5 expireds and 4 referrals. And if I can put each sort of lead source into a bucket, I don't have to do 50 deals a year. I really only have to do as many deals in that particular bucket. And if I fill all my buckets, I've hit my goals.
Perfect. And I like how you mentioned leads. Keep your finger on that, because we're going to be touching that here on the next round. Seth, how about you? You're in commercial now, but is that where you started, and how have your goals changed over the years?
Yeah, I've never done a residential deal besides with another residential agent or my own property, and then I probably screwed that up a little bit. But yeah, I would say definitely my, just how I operate has changed. And I remember my mentor also telling me, look, you can't function like I function. And I completely understand it now. Being on this side of it, when I've been in the business for 20 plus years, looking back and just kind of thinking through, this question, when I first started, what I would encourage new agents to do is just learn as much as possible. Learn how to do things for yourself. Don't rely on your transaction manager, because who's going to teach them how to do it, or how are you going to know if it's done the right way? So get with a senior person and just, listen. I remember being taught hey, just sit in this meeting and hear what we're saying, and then, over 6 to 9 months, a year, you start to pick up on, how to say things, when to say it, what not to say. Keep learning technology. I mean, it's always changing. What else did I write down here? Definitely build your network. It's a different, it's definitely different on the commercial side from, the network you build versus the residential side, but it's still you're building that sphere of influence in your network. Be the expert, get as many certifications as you can, try to get designations. And what else did I write down? I can't read my writing. Sorry. Work ethic was there somewhere. So you got to work harder than everybody else. So.
No, perfect. That's awesome. Andrea, how about yours? In all the years you've been in real estate, what were your goals, and have they changed over the years?
Sure. Yes. At the beginning, no goals. Like it was a side hustle. It was, I don't really know what I'm doing, for sure. And then the more that I was helping people, it just became like addicting. I absolutely loved it and loved being that trusted advisor. So that prompted me to set the goals of like, oh, I want to help more people next year. I want to, serve more clients. And it's always been a goal. Every year, the goal is serving a certain number of clients, and that has grown. And then, like, as our team has expanded, it's okay, our team wants to serve this many clients. And I would just say it's harder than you think. So it's so exciting to be in escrow, right? Like, oh, I got an escrow. And then when that closes, you don't have another one. So having that momentum of keeping the escrows going, it builds the momentum, it builds up your confidence. So for me, it's like, I'm happy when we have a certain number in escrow. And when it gets under that number, I'm like, it makes me nervous, because you just know, like, you're unemployed again. As soon as something closes, you're unemployed. So having that consistency, I think we're better agents the more clients that we serve. I think we serve the clients better the more that we're doing. The agent that is, serving 1 or 2 a year, it's tough. It's tough to know what's going on in the market. It's tough to know all these changes going on in transactions and forms and all those things. So we're all better. We're better the more that we're doing, and treating it like a business, having like that business mindset. We get in it to have flexible schedule, and your flexible schedule is you get to work all day, every day. Oh, it's fun.
Well, and you mentioned treating it like a business. That definitely is. This isn't a job. It is a business, and that's how agents should be treating it. Definitely, from my opinion. Caroline, for you have the least amount of years in the business compared to everybody else out here. So I'm really curious for you, for what kind of change have you had in your real estate goals from when you started to where you are right now?
Expectation. I just knew the day that I knew that I was going to move to the United States that I was going to be a real estate agent. And so I came in with no expectations. I sold only 3 homes in my first year. That didn't really make it in order for me to stay in real estate full time. And so at that point, I actually got a full-time job, and that happened to be my best year ever in real estate. And coming to the goal thing, for me,
Oh, I think we lost her. Anybody else lose her?
Yeah, I lost her.
I'm coming to a different country. I need to start working. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hi, you're cutting out quite a bit.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I don't know where I cut out exactly.
That's okay. Well, actually, we'll stop right there, and what we'll do, we'll pick right up with you, just in case you got a better connection right now. So sticking with the new agents, of course, leads. Everybody wants leads, and that is a big part of our business. Caroline, how are you tracking leads for your team and basically keeping in contact with them?
So our big thing is really follow-up. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, much better.
Okay, perfect. It's really all about follow-up and having systems in place, because we can all, pick up the phone and have a conversation, but if you don't keep track, like if you're talking to 2-3 people, you might still remember it. But real estate, the sooner, like the busier you get, it's like dating 20 people at the same time. It's exhausting. Like you need to remember what they said, what they wanted, when they wanted it, when they want to communicate, when they get off of work. And so those systems are extremely important in order to make sure that you follow up with your leads and you don't miss out any opportunities.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we could hear you really good that time. So your connection is much better.
Perfect.
Scott, you mentioned earlier you're talking kind of a bit about leads, so we're just transitioning right into that. How are you managing your leads, especially from the different aspects of the FSBOs and the first-time home buyers and the repeat clients?
And what do you mean exactly managing them?
All the leads that come in, how are you keeping in contact with them so you don't forget about them, you don't lose them by the wayside?
Yeah, so I kind of a combination of old school and new school. I have a black book in my office beside my computer, and I write them down old school. Just a name, phone number, maybe a one line of a price range or an address or whatever. Then as I'm done with them, I cross them off my list, and when that page is full, I turn the page, and all the ones that haven't been crossed off, they get transferred over to the new page, and then I start adding the new ones. And you know what? It's super old school, but the thing that I like about it is that every now and then, if I'm a little bit slow, I can thumb back through pages and pages and pages of leads and be like, oh man, I haven't talked to this person in a while. I'm going to send a text or an email and just see where things are at. And so that's kind of how I track them. And then another thing, and I think this is a real big hack for new agents is, and I know that Android and iPhone both have a version of it or whatever, but I use iPhone and I use my reminders app a lot. And then you can do it with Android as well, but I can use Siri and just say, hey Siri, remind me Friday at 1 o'clock to call Dave. And then it's out of my mind. And so anytime I'm supposed to call somebody, I put it in my reminders app right away. If Dave, if me and you are speaking and it's like, well, okay, well, I'll circle back after the weekend. I'll call you, Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Boom. I put it right in my reminders app. I don't think about it again until my phone beeps and tells me, hey, you got this reminder. One caveat to that though, is that when your phone beeps and tells you got a reminder, you need to do it. Because if you put it off, then you start to forget about things. But so yeah, old school and new school.
I like how you do that. I do the same thing. Write it down. I've got notes all over my desk here. Plus, I've got everything in my calendar. And you're right about the reminder. If you don't do it right away, it won't come back and remind you again. So do it when it comes due. Andrea, how about you with the amount of leads that come in for your team? How are you managing them and making sure you don't lose any of them?
Yes, great question. So we have a CRM and we also use Trello. Glenn Sanford said something about Trello once, and I was like, well, Glenn Sanford knows everything about everything, so I'm going to do what he does. And so we really dove into Trello, and it's our kind of our transaction management also, because we just have cards in there for all of the checklist items. But when we get a new client or a lead, we put it in as a potential and assign it to whoever, and then they're going to follow up with them. And then within our CRM, so separately in a CRM, it just has like every day who I'm supposed to call. So I don't have to think about it. It's on a schedule of, certain groups of people I'm going to call every month. And then the next category I'm calling every 60 days and then every 90 days. So staying in touch with people, even if it's not a lead, people in our database. So that's super important to us, is staying in touch, even if it's not necessarily a quote lead, but that generates business for us just by staying in touch. Like, oh, I was thinking about you. I was talking to so-and-so and Bob Smith wants to move. So let me connect you, just by making those calls of caring about them. So
Yes, top of mind, being top of mind, and we're actually going to touch on that here coming up in the next question. So keep that under your finger. Seth, for you in the commercial space, I imagine dealing with you got landlords, you've got tenants, you've got people wanting to do leases, you've got people wanting to sell. How are you managing all that comes in? I know you don't have a business plan, so I'm hoping you've got some type of plan for this.
Right. So I have I subscribe to the theory of, if you think about someone, then you call them right then, if humanly possible. And as far as keeping track of things, I mean, I have a book that I keep names in, and then I lose the book, which isn't good. And then I find it again later on. So I have multiple books. But anyways, I would say that all the people that have gone before, I've used those strategies in the past. Looking at a CRM right now, and I work with really good teammates who also help keep me in track when I have listings and things like that, because that's where the majority of, I would say, leads come in. Would be if you have a listing and people are calling, and just following up those people, make sure that you respond quickly. I never want the ball in my court. So I'm always, as soon as I get something, I try to, get it back out as fast as possible. And, really it's about just following up with people as quickly as I can.
Okay, perfect. And for me, I do a little like what Scott mentioned. I've got stuff written down. I also throw stuff in a Google Drive, so then if I do lose it, I've got it somewhere, and I got my calendars. But I also utilize AI in managing with the leads, and we're going to transition right into that question. So in regards to AI, so artificial intelligence, growing fast in the business, I got into it. About 14 months ago, started to dabble in it, and it's just been growing more and more. And I'm utilizing it to keep in contact with new leads that come in through my CRM. I use Lofty and a combination of KV Core, but mostly Lofty. But what I also started to do in the last 30 days, and I'll share this with all of you, is I actually got generated an AI avatar that looks like me, sounds almost exactly like me, to the point that it's a little bit freaky. But I'm utilizing it to send out market reports to clients that all get personalized. And all we have to do is type in a text script and the AI sends it out. And this is keeping in contact with people. And along with that, and some email lists that go out, people are engaging with them, and we're being top of mind, and referrals are coming out of it. So I shared this with you, kind of how I'm utilizing AI, and absolutely it generates huge amounts of business for me. Seth, will go in the commercial space, I guess. Are you utilizing AI? And if you are, how are you utilizing it?
So I haven't gotten into it nearly as much as I would like to. I think that it could be very powerful. It's very interesting what you were just saying. I actually wrote down this Lofty, and I don't know that I would want to create an avatar of myself, but I might have to look into it. We'll see. I have Chat GPT, and I've used it, for random things, but I haven't really implemented it into my business since I have no plan. It's kind of hard to implement something when you have no plan, right? So I do have a couple, like I mentioned, I have a couple of people that I work with that are very good at planning. And so something that we will be looking into more.
Okay, perfect. And it kind of puts you guys on the spot in regards to this, because not everyone's utilizing it, and it's okay if you don't. We'll put it right there. So let's jump over to you, Scott. Have you utilized AI in any sense in your business?
You know what? Very basically, I mean, property descriptions with ChatGPT. That's really about it. I mean, I haven't really saw a real bit. Like, I mean, a lot of people will use it to generate video scripts and video ideas and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I think that it's pretty generic when it comes to some of those applications. Some of the chat bots like you were talking about, I think will be sort of the next evolution of it for real estate agents. But for now, I'm just using it for property descriptions, and it saves a little bit of time, but I think for what it does more than that is it just saves mental bandwidth with trying to type out the same boring, stupid, property description every time. So that's minimally I'm using it that way. One other way that I should be using it more, and I think that it would actually help agents is more of a brainstorming session. We've been talking about leads and lead sources and goal setting and planning. I've never really just tried to have a conversation with ChatGPT and just ask it a question and have it ask me a question back and go back and forth. I think that might be an interesting use of AI to kind of use it to brainstorm versus just saying, I need an answer. Give me, here's a question, give me an answer.
And how you finished off there, that's actually a good way with ChatGPT, with the paid accounts, that you train it by basically asking it questions, and it learns you, and then it will create property descriptions. It will create, I'll use the term scripts for you, that will reflect how you are, as close as you are to getting to where you can be. I will comment though, Scott, like I've watched your videos on social media, and I can definitely tell they're not scripted because they're directly from you. They're directly from, I'll use the term, from your heart. And they definitely have a bigger impact by going that way. So hats off to you for doing that. Caroline, how about you? Have you utilized any AI in your business?
We do. It's funny we have this question because it's really my husband who's like the big AI person between the two of us. But one of the tools that we do use, I love mind mapping with AI. So whenever I business plan, I'll have AI do a mind map for me, and it gives me plenty of ideas that I will use or some that I might not use. But a very interesting tool that both my team and we have been using is virtual staging with AI, especially if you have, for example, sellers that are not willing to organize and clean up their house or whatever situation they're in. The app actually allows you to clear out the rooms or put in furniture. And I know a photographer can do that, but as a new agent, sometimes, whatever cost you can spare is a great thing. And so this app is a lot cheaper than actually have a photographer doing it for you. Now, if you have a multi-million-dollar listing, I would not recommend you to do that. But for these smaller listings, it's a really great solution. On top of, obviously, 9 out of 10 right now are using ChatGPT, so I don't think I need to get into that. But that is one of the powerful tools that we have been using. In addition to what we're doing right now is a lot of agents are getting more listings. Like right now, a lot of listings are going on the market. How can you stand out? Well, we actually offer virtual staging, which other agents might not be offering that. So I feel that's one of the powerful tools that we're using.
Perfect. Can you share that app again? It just came up in the chat. Someone was asking what it's called.
Sure. It's called Virtual Staging AI. I will look up the link and I will share it in the chat.
Excellent. Thank you. Quickly, Andrew, just to jump over to you. How has AI been implemented in your business, if at all?
Well, I have a good friend, Phil Sexton with EXP. Definitely follow him. He is brilliant with all this AI stuff. He showed me how to do the avatar that you were talking about, Dave. And It's super creepy, but I did it. And we use it the same. I think it was Scott that said for listing descriptions and stuff like that. I will say our photographer, just on the last video shoot I was doing for a listing that I had ChatGPT give me the description. I said, can you tell this is AI? And he's like, if I hear backyard oasis one more time, I'm like, everyone says the same thing. So just being cautious of things like that, of obviously, like you said, I prefer to speak from my heart on those kind of things. So there's that. But that's the limit of what we've used it for. Have not utilized it. We'll kind of see how that is going forward. But
no, I think it's really good.
Dave,
Yeah,
I just wanted to jump on the one point that Andrea made there, is that, I often find sometimes though that half the things we do are not necessarily, they're for our client. I use ChatGPT all the time, and yes, I agree with you that it can sound AI-ish. But I had a client, and I've screenshotted the text that he sent me a text back and said, Scott, your property descriptions are just amazing. And I laughed inside, but yeah, your photographer sees it all the time and he's in that world and he might be able to pick it out, but our clients can't. And when we have a good description, and I don't even think the general public, the general public will only read a property description of a property that they're actually interested in. They flip through the photos and then they're gone. So I wouldn't get too bogged down in that sort of genericness of it. That's my thought anyways.
I totally agree. And I've had more compliments on that particular video that I did. So you're absolutely right. Like, yes, the photographer hears it all the time, but the public doesn't. And that's our job. That's what we're supposed to be focused on. So yeah.
Yes, and I'll chime in on that as well, because you're right. The public doesn't see it. Like Scott, you mentioned ChatGPT. It can do up these extraordinary descriptions, and it can sound just like you. Or people are like asking, "Wow, how did you come up with that?" Well, I've got my tools. It also comes down to, Andrew, like when you mentioned with Phil and the AI. That's what I've been researching as well. And when I did my AI avatar, I sent out videos to a few people just as a test, not telling them that it was AI, and they couldn't pick it up because they didn't know me directly. I show the video to my wife or my kids, and like, Dad is creepy. Dad, that's not quite you, and it's not. Where it lacks is emotion, right? So that's the one thing. So for all of you out there, that's one thing. Take into consideration when you are using AI. There is no emotion in it. An emotion can sell a property, an emotion can sell yourself. So be careful how you're utilizing it and where you are utilizing it in your business, because it could also go backwards on you. So just do be careful. Okay. We still have a little bit of time. What I'd like to ask all of you, because we're icons, we've been up here some multiple times for multiple years. So for all of you, can you let's start with name one thing that you can attribute to your success to becoming an icon agent. And Andrea, we'll start with you.
Well, one thing, that's hard.
Okay, let's go the best thing, because I know one thing is hard because we all took steps together, but if there's one thing you could pick out that really got you to where you're at.
I think Seth won't like, Seth won't like this. But having systems, treating it like a business, being the professional and having that mindset around it of this is a business. It's not a hobby. I'm not getting in because the market's good or bad or whatever. It's focused on the client, treating it like a business, and doing the things every day, like having like a work schedule, having a routine and things that you do all the time consistently, taking care of people. That was one thing in a really long run-on sentence.
That's okay. It's a very difficult question because we've all gotten here by implementing a lot of things. It's hard to bring out the one aspect. Yeah, Caroline, how about you? Is there one thing that you can attribute your success to becoming an icon agent?
Honestly, my husband. The reason I'm saying that, so I know he just joined me last year, but my husband was in the military before, and the way he's been trained and everything, he's been very hard on me, but at the same time, I'm very appreciative of that. Sometimes, I've cried and whatnot, but he has pushed me to my limits. And I guess what you can take away from that is you need someone behind you that really believes in you and pushes you um, to become your best self. That's really
Okay,
my
I
one.
pick her answer. My husband, definitely my husband.
Okay, we'll stroke that off the record on the recordings. Okay, Seth, how about you? One thing for your success that you really just brought you up to this icon level.
Wow, one thing that's really hard. It's not that I don't like planning. It's just really, I think with my personality, it's really difficult for me. So I did like your answer. It was totally fine. But one thing, the thing that just popped in my mind is hard work and dedication. That was what my son's football coach always used to say. They would chant it before every game, and I really think, for me, that's what it's been about: hard work and dedication to my clients, always putting them first, no matter what. Whether it's one time I got a $7 commission, and I had to work that deal just as hard as, the $600,000 commission that I got on, selling this huge building. And so, commercial, I'm not going to say it's very different because it involves the same skill sets as any other, on the residential side. And so I think we all have to, have a little level of dedication to what we're doing. And it's hard to balance that with, having a family, especially with 6 kids. This morning I went to my middle son's a senior. And so, I was really stressing out about making it to this, but, you also have to keep your priorities straight. And so it's way more than one thing. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Hey, we've all gotten to this point, right? And it's hard to definitely break it down, but those are all good points that I think for everyone here to listen to. Scott, how about you? What can you attribute? I know, and we've had these conversations before we met in person, but what do you attribute your success to?
I kind of like to sometimes boil it down as I'm a bit of a grinder. Um, it's a tough business year over year to keep a high level, and I tend not to take no for an answer. I don't let deals die over petty things. I've always been very good at finding a way to convince my client to do, like, yes, you're always putting your client's interests first, but we're also getting paid to sell these properties. And sometimes you have to tell your clients things they don't want to hear, or maybe they don't even want to do, but in your heart, like, hey, this is what we have to do to get this deal done. And um, so just being able to get into the trenches, and even like I said it earlier, like I have my little black book, and every now and then I have no problem texting or calling somebody from a year ago and being like, hey, I just was circling back, I seen your name in my book. And so just, I guess, I ultimately just kind of finding a way to make it happen. Just looking where other people don't look, digging in the trenches, grinding, not taking no for an answer. Finding a way to get a deal done where it doesn't look like it's going to be done. All those things kind of combined, I think, has really, really helped.
Perfect. I really like all your answers in regards to that. For me, what I can attribute to basically one thing is consistency. Being consistent at showing up to work every day, doing the social media, the videos, keeping in contact with clients. It all works into one thing: is to be consistent, and it comes back and it shows who you are. We
Dave,
just got a couple of minutes left.
I'd like to jump in on that. My mentor also told me that 80% of life is showing up. And so I think you're absolutely right. Showing up and being consistent.
Yes. Yeah. You can't just come and go as you please. It doesn't work that way. And the clients will see that. We just got a couple of minutes left, and I wanted to quickly highlight on this. Scott and I have ran into each other at networking events, and some of you, I'm going to assume, have been to network events. So we're going to kind of touch base on that. So for everyone out there, if you're able to attend regional rallies, it will greatly benefit your business to meet with other agents. Even if you're an introvert, go and chat with people. They will help grow your business and help you grow out of your comfort zone. I regularly attend EXPCon and was a shareholder summit, going to EXPCon in Miami here coming up in October, EXPCon Canada in Vancouver last year, and going again coming up here next month in May. So in the US, the regional rallies, do attend those. I'm quickly going to run by each of you. Scott, plans of going to EXPCon or EXPCon Canada this year?
No plans. If I'm being very honest, it's in Canada, it's very expensive to travel. Yes, I can get $2,000 in stock, but it's going to cost me $3,000 or $4,000 to go. So it's honestly just not worth it. But on that point, to your broader point about networking, no, I think it's a great idea. I always tell myself I want to go to more networking events, and then when I get there, I realize, oh man, now I got to talk to people. I'm very much extroverted, and I can shoot the breeze with anybody about anything at any time. But I do struggle about just walking into a room of strangers and just trying to strike up a conversation. But you know what? All those little interactions count. And the one thing I would say about networking is, I always, instead of taking somebody's card, the first thing I do is ask them, hey, are you on Instagram, or like, what are you on? Let's connect on there. And so that's one point that I would take away from networking is, meeting people is great. Getting their card is great, but pulling out your phone and connecting on social media will pay dividends long-term.
Absolutely. I like how you mentioned about the cards. Cards, they disappear, but networking, social-wise, can go far. Let's go quickly. Seth, how about you for network events? Do you attend them regularly, or at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I love going to the conferences. I didn't go the first year or two, but really enjoyed. I think my first one was shareholders in Orlando. Was it last year? I think so. And then I went to Vegas this year for EXPCon, and I've been to several, regional rallies, as well as we had a couple commercial events. So I really enjoy meeting, other people, and it really, commercial's small, and so having the sense of, how big and how much is going on with EXP, Realty is awesome. I mean, it gives you a lot of energy. And so I definitely plan to go, to as many as I can.
Excellent. Caroline, how about you? Being in Florida with EXPCon coming up, and in fact, you had shareholders there last year. Do you attend the networking events? And regional rally was just last week. Oh, maybe we lost her. So Andrea, we'll jump to you. For networking events, do you attend them?
Yes, absolutely. And we are going to EXPCon. The regional rallies are fantastic. And having, it is expensive for us to go to Florida. Is expensive. Seems like it shouldn't be, but it is. And the relationships that you build there, for me, it's always paid for itself in those, you connect with somebody. We love Canadians because Canadians love Arizona. So having those relationships are fantastic to get referrals from. So it can be very lucrative as well.
Absolutely. Yes. Perfect. Brian, thanks for being patient with me. I know we went a little bit over on time, so thanks for letting us get that last question out. Thanks to all of you for coming out today in the audience to listen to us. We love to share our experiences. To all the panelists, Seth and Andrea, we hadn't met before. It was great to learn more about you. Scott, looking forward to seeing you again one day down the road. And Caroline, she got disconnected here, but we've connected a few times. Great to see all you guys, and I hope to connect with you guys in the future. Brian,
Dave.
back to you.
Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on the panel today. If you are watching this on YouTube, smash that like button. And if you've waited around the whole show and you are an icon in an active benefit year, I'm going to go ahead and drop in the chat for you a little gift. It's a survey. Fill it out. You'll get a couple points. Have a great day, everyone.